There's an awful long way to go. So we just started them off gently today. After the early liaison through the mist, it was then a racing special of 117 kilometres, 492 in all, if you include both legs of that liaison to Portimao. As always, quads and bikers up early. They're the ones that set their alarms, although most of them wake up with the noise of the first starting engines. Roadbooks on, goggles complete, auto switches all hooked up. Time to go racing. The brave and the valiant going off 2 by 2 this morning into the mists of Portugal. Farewell then to Lisbon, destination Portimao, and the small matter of those 117 kilometres right in the middle of it. Ruben Faria of Portugal, local knowledge certainly helping him. He's ridden these tracks many times. He's got a light and skippy Yamaha 450, and the smaller bikes, well, they were just cruising today. He had one of them. Looked good. Through the fog also coming Helder Rodrigue. I remember him from last year, held on to his lead into Morocco. Enduro skilled riders coming to the fore. Rodrigue finishing second today behind Ruben Faria. Tough job out there, but they made it look easy, the Portuguese. Well, it doesn't look too difficult at this point, but believe me, some came in with bruises, and Esteve Puyol was one of them. Well, despite his bumps on the day, just shows you what he's got on board. A lot of guts and verve, that's for sure. Had a couple of downs, but he certainly wasn't out. Remounted, got back up, dusted himself off, and just gunned it once again. Finished third on the day. Esteve Puyol, 5 minutes down on the leader, nothing too serious. Loves motocross-like terrain, does Esteve. And despite his problems, today, a decent finishing position. Well, always rest when you can. Little things are there to try us. Proving his experience, his knowledge and his skill. David Castor, well, a real rising star on the 490 Gaulois. The water carrier for Esteve Puyol. Reliable team rider, and look at the conditions in parts, and you can see how it's cutting up for later. Those coming later on. All right in motocross, the odd rut to help you around the corners, but it's the last thing you want when you're going straight. And he had trouser trouble, I can tell you. Not what you might think. Crashed into another bike who came out of nowhere. That's his thigh. Well, air conditioning perhaps might come in handy on the Dakar itself when it warms up a bit. But it was almost the crown jewels. Thankfully, he's all right. And indeed finished the day in 4th spot. Not bad at all. Terry Bettis on the Honda 450, another light bike out there. Loves sand. Of course, he's well known on the Le Touquet Marathon, winner there 3 times. Finished 5th on today's stage, did Terry Bettis. 5 minutes and 10 down off the leader. He loved it, so did Jonah Street. 6th, the fastest American on last year's KTM. He may be KTM 525, but I tell you something, it's reliable, and he was the quickest American taking the US honours today, beating Chris Blaise, who finished 14 seconds further behind. Blaise almost sent into his road book. That often brings tears to the eyes. Got away with it. Paulandus Oliverseta was chasing him down meanwhile. Blaise in the number 9, Oliverseta, that pea green, frog green, whatever you care to call it, the Norwegian, was on his tail. Said he didn't like the choppy conditions, and he didn't like the fans being too close to the action. A number of riders and drivers said exactly that. It did add to the atmosphere, but believe me, it really did hamper the concentration of some. And well, Oliverseta claimed that his 8th position on the day was down to that. We've got to find excuses, haven't you? Fabien Planet, Enduro Challenge winner, 4th overall in the Enduro Championship in 2005, finished 9th ahead of Cyril Desprez. Top Brit, just so you don't think I've missed them out, Mick Extance and his Honda. Who else but our Mick? 36th today, nearest man to him, Ian Myers on the MTS KTM, 129th, 42 minutes and 6 seconds down on the lead pace. That's a big gap, lad. Steve Malone, third fastest Brit, 159th, 50 minutes off the pace for now. Cyril Desprez used 8 more litres per 100 kilometres than in Mauritania, he said. It really was sticky out there. Didn't hold him up, though. Managed to limp it home. They were having to preserve some of their fuel today. Mark Comer, last year's winner, managed 13th spot today. Where's the number 1? And expect him to feature by the end. And for most of this rally, he's always consistent. May not win many stages, but boy, oh boy, just watch out for him. We'll be visiting his home in just a few moments' time. So it's fast and furious out there on occasion. But the sand, well, it played havoc with people's fuels consumption, and there was a few nervous moments for some of the riders on the way in. Cyril Desprez was one of those who just had to keep the bike going steady and slow. So today's results, as it's the first stage, is also the overall ranking. And guess what? It's Portuguese riders Faria and Rodrigue who are out in front. Chasing down comes some talent out there. Long, long way to go, though. When we get to Africa, things really sort out.
Correu muito bem.
Well, Helder speaking to us today. This is rode very well. It was a very technical stage from the beginning. Pushed really hard. Later I controlled my speed a bit more in order to get not too tired and finally arrive at the finish of what was a difficult stage. It's great for me to finish in the top 3, and I'm happy for the team. Rodrigue finishing second today behind Faria, Esteban Puyol. In that third place, it's a nice special stage, lots of sand, soft sand, thankfully. He went down in it a couple of times, so he should know. Had to be careful out there. It was difficult to decide where to pass some of the other riders. It was a little bit difficult on occasion because the track was just so narrow. David Castor, the Frenchman, saying full throttle, concentrated on my track. Suddenly there came a privateer rider in the middle of the spectators, and he stalled all of a sudden. I couldn't avoid him. I hit him with a front reel, fell on the side, and that's where he got his trouser trouble. Doesn't seem to have affected him. He said he was a bit rattled, though. Betis, who finished 5th, saying a bit of everything out there. Dune, soft sand, overtook some riders. Plenty of riders down on the ground as well. Very technical out there. Some difficult sections amongst the trees in particular. It's hard to find and maintain good speed in the middle of all these dangers. What about Chris Blaise?
It was really tough, but I had a really good time. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't ride much of that at home, and it was a new experience, but I had a lot of fun. I never knew that there was sand in between pine trees. I'd never ridden that before, and of course I hit one tree just a little bit, but it's okay.